occasionally you are graced with an opportunity to practice your humility, and there are going to be some days that just don't go very well, and really the measure of your character and the measure of who you are isn't about whether or not you have good and bad days, because everybody has bad days. It's going to happen. Sometimes it's just about how you handle those situations, the way that you look at it. And it can be a positive experience or it can be a negative experience. I talked last video, or in the last training video, more like about the idea of, your negative experiences shaping the way that you perceive your positive experiences, and how exciting it is to have something go right after things have gone wrong, and bring up the idea that if everything always went right for you, it would be a boring life that you would never learn to appreciate that positive thing. You would never have the ability to understand how much better it is to be going through a positive time if you don't have something to compare it to. And so the highest highs come from the people that have also experienced the lowest lows. And it was kind of ironic that I talked about that right before having this session, and I'm not going to say that this was, an absolute throwaway or an extremely, extremely disappointing, frustrating session. It was a mildly frustrating session, and the biggest frustration to me was that I can point to 3 or 4 things that I could have done better in my preparation for it. And hindsight's 20/20, but when you're pursuing improvement, when you're pursuing an aggressive rate of improvement, when you're already pretty good at something and you're wanting to get better and better at it, it takes more of a commitment across the board. You cannot become complacent or lackadaisical in your own extended effort to improve. You have to be more on track. There's less wiggle room. The better you get, the less you can kind of coast. You have to dig deep and work hard for every single thing. And so I was really frustrated with this top set. Things were feeling kind of off already. I just didn't feel like I had much pop in my pull. And that first rep was a little bit slow. Second was a little better. And then I just rushed the third. I just should not have done it. Mad at myself there. This is a weight that I've hit for 4 before. And granted, strength isn't linear. You're going to have times when you're able to display it to its fullest extent, and I'm probably a little bit I'm in a bit of a fatigue deficit right now, basically. The volume of all my other work coming together. So 60 seconds after I missed that triple on the 720, about a minute later, I walked away, came back, pulled it for one more single, and it was a grindy single. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't great feeling. But, what are you going to take away from that situation? Are you going to be frustrated and, kick the sand and say, well, it's not fair, it should have just gone easy? No, you assess the situation, see what you can fix next time. Afterwards, that happened. Yep. Some days you just suck, was thinking in my mind, and, walked away. I should have been able to hit that 640 for a triple. That's just, one of those things that it feels like an unexcusable thing. I misgrooved the second, as in I just didn't get a solid bracing breath, and I sacrificed my technique and turned it into a thoracic extension, which left me very little to do on the third rep, so it just didn't go. Tried to make up for some of my frustrations on the deadlift when I moved on to my close grip bench and did my first couple warm-up sets and said, man, I do not feel like I'm going to be able to hit a double PR today. Kind of along the same lines of what happened on Tuesday with my regular grip bench, where I decided, okay, I'll lateralize my situation instead of trying to push myself for a double PR that I don't feel like is going to be there. Maybe I'll play around and try a slightly different rep range, and so I went and pursued finding a close grip triple here, 345, I freaked myself out a little bit. I think I was still kind of in the mindset of, you know, I'm not doing well tonight. I'm not having a good session. So when when 345, the first and second reps both felt a little bit grindy and a little bit sticky halfway up, I decided not to push it, drop back down to 340. I think I was able to get out of my head a little bit more and perform it. Afterwards, I dropped down to 315 here, and my best close grip that I can remember at 315 was a touch and go set of 5, and so hitting a touch and go set of, you know, the 4 there plus the long paused 5th rep for about 5 or 6 seconds did help to restore some of the confidence that was getting a little bit shaken. And then afterwards, I did a few of my supersets. They were actually trisets here. And as that's going on, I'll just kind of talk about the idea of how to cope with these situations. And granted, I feel really weird complaining about or being frustrated with a 700 plus pound pull for, you know, reps in a set, because months ago, not even years ago, months ago, that would have been the highlight of a session, and I would have been extremely happy to get 2 reps on that day, especially considering how underprepared I ended up being. But your mentality has to change. You have to expect more to get more. You have to work harder to get more when you have already gotten somewhere. And so that's kind of one of the potential negatives that comes with constantly wanting to improve. It's you run the risk of losing your positive perception of a situation that in other circumstances might not have been a frustrating circumstance or frustrating situation. And so, like I said, I'm not going to beat myself up about this. I'm actually thankful that there's a few things I could think of. What the worst feeling in training like this is when you come into a session where you feel like you literally have done everything that you possibly could to prepare, and everything's been on point. You've made every good out of the gym decision that you could. Your training has been solid, and then everything just kind of kaploops on you, and it doesn't work. Those are the times when you've kind of, found your limit, and that's a good thing. It's good to occasionally find your limit. You never know what it is until you reach it, and that is a very important piece of information, and also a potentially very aggravating piece of information. But I don't feel like this was my limit. Obviously, I've done more before, and I feel like I am stronger now. I just didn't do the things I needed to be better prepared, and so I am going to shake this session off and have kind of something to prove to myself next week, but just gonna do what I need to do and do what I have been doing, which is make good decisions, make good training choices, make good choices outside of the gym, and set myself up for the best chance of success as possible. You see that rowing movement that I was doing at first with that barbell there, that's called a lever row, I believe, and that's kind of my home style way of setting that all up. Band tensions up on the push downs, more weight on the rope curls, but honestly it was getting pretty late after midnight when I got to those. My session, for reasons like I have been alluding to, just got pushed back, and things were not the way that they needed to be on my end, and in the future I will make sure that those get remedied, so hopefully I won't have to be frustrated in another session. But ultimately I can look at it in a positive light and say I did take away something from this session. I did do a solid amount of work, work that a few months ago would have made me incredibly happy, and I just have higher expectations of myself now, and those expectations will lead me to improve other areas of my game to get better and come back stronger as a result. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it entertaining or helpful or insightful or something. And on Saturday I will be meeting up with my buddy Izzy Navarez from Powerlifting to Win. I don't know if you guys have heard about his channel. He hasn't been as active on that, but he has been pretty active on his vlogging secondary channel. But I'm going down to Linwood and stopping in Kent to visit my lady on tomorrow night, and then we'll go down and train with Izzy and the crew on Saturday, so it should be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited. So hope you're all doing well, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.